really sure if I can help that. So in keeping with the ongoing emergency order from Governor Charlie Baker to limit gatherings and maximize social distancing under legislation passed to address remote board meetings during the emergency declaration, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance from members will be remote, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. The meeting will broadcast live and be recorded on ECAT. Members of the public participating in the Zoom meeting may submit a written question via text chat, provided they include their full name and address for the public record. Members of the public viewing the meeting on ECAT may submit questions in writing via email to mblatchard@easton.ma.us. All votes will be by roll call, and yeah, I think we can go ahead and get started. So I'll start with roll. Alphabetical order.
Bornstein present.
Barger present.
Devonshire present.
Chan present. All right, fine. Okay.
You're muted.
Yep, Foster present.
Artioli present.
All right, thank you. Okay, so let's go ahead and hoping the team had an opportunity to review the meeting minutes that Kelly distributed, or actually Liz distributed back in June, early June. Do I have a motion to approve the minute?
So moved. Second.
Second? Okay, here comes Irene. I think I need to do a vote. Can we vote in alphabetical order, please?
Barger, yes.
Bornstein, yes.
Chen, yes.
Devonshire, yes.
Foster, yes.
Dean, yes.
Artioli, yes.
Okay, thank you. Meeting minutes have been approved. Okay, we have a pretty good agenda today. I know we didn't get a chance to meet in July. We took the month off, so I'm anticipating we have a lot of topics to cover. I wanted to first start off actually about membership, which I did email the group about. We plan to kind of discuss some terms that are ending. And then I do believe we need to go ahead and elect our chair and vice chair. So in terms of membership, we do have one position open, the position that Stephanie has vacated. And if folks are interested, how would they go about submitting? Craig and Liz, can you provide some insight there?
There is a process they could fill out on the Town of Easton website, towns and boards, and submit that to the clerk's office, and then it goes to the new administrative assistant in the select board office, and then it'll get posted for a hearing at some point in the future.
So, and I think we talked about possibly maybe scanning our ally list to see if there's any interest there potentially. Do we want to send out a blurb to that group?
I think we should. Kathy, you're muted.
I'm sorry. All right. Yes, I can send out to the ally list. And Craig, do you know if anybody has applied?
I haven't heard anything. No.
Craig. Okay.
I did confirm, I just checked now, the vacancy is listed. So people, Kathy, if you give a link to like the town website of where to look or what the application is, it should be listed there.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Kathy. Okay, and then I'm not sure how this goes about, but I guess it's time to elect our vice chair and our chair position.
Agenda,
How does
so
this
I don't.
go?
It's not on the agenda, so it really should be on the agenda. Anything that we're going to talk about. I thought it was on the agenda, but
Okay.
it's not.
It's not formally on the agenda, no. It
We
didn't
put it
quite make
under other action items.
Mhm.
suppose you could do that.
Okay. So would we like to cover that later in the meeting?
Well, maybe a couple more people will show up.
Okay, good point. All right. So let's go to get started on our listening session planning, but I think we may need Michelle for that. Unless anybody else in the group has an update there.
I think Amy was in that group too. Beth, you were talking with them, weren't you?
Yeah, I think we pretty much had put a pin in it until favorite higher ed saying, until the summer was over or until we met again.
Smart, given the ever-changing world of what we can and should do.
Yeah, I am fully prepared to be back in a pre-vaccinated world.
Mhm. All right, so it sounds like listening session is on hold for the time being with no updates.
Correct.
Okay. Is the plan still to aim to host that one in the month of September, or maybe based on today's meeting, we may need to move that out a little bit, right?
I think it's fine to move it out. To Liz's point, it's I think September is going to have a ton of moving parts in it.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. The
No.
next topic was, oh, go ahead.
I was going to say that might also give us more time too, if we're thinking about partnering with the system or school district, or at least advertising it. I would assume that September is a pretty busy month for those folks.
Yep, that makes sense.
And if we do it later in the fall, we can advertise at NRT since that's the very beginning of October.
Perfect.
Okay, any other listening session updates for the group? Okay, NRT. Allie, do you want to maybe start here?
Sure. So I sent around a couple of emails, which I'm assuming you guys will look at one point. It's been a little while. The NRT, the folks, the NRT contacts are holding a spot for us. I told them that we needed to vote on it in this meeting, so everything's still up in the air, but they are holding a spot for us. I requested a spot with some sort of a wall or building behind us, just given the couple of ideas that I had. And as you guys know, I circulated 3 ideas. I'm not sure if there are any other ideas out there that we want to consider, but I do think if the NRT Harvest Fair does go forward, and we want to do something, then that means we need to make a decision on what it is that we're going to do now, because it's only two months away. So we'll need to move pretty quickly on gathering all of the materials needed and putting together any signage and stuff like that relatively quickly. So I know there was some discussion about how the 3 ideas are that I had are the sort of origami butterflies and assembling them together into some sort of like a butterfly flock artwork. The wings where people decorate an individual feather, and then we assemble it on a backdrop of wings, and it's a photo op for people. And then the third is using chicken wire to create, oh, thank you, Liz, using chicken wire to create a wall like that, where each person would come up and contribute to the artwork by inserting a piece of fabric wherever they sort of feel is the right place to put it. So those are the 3 ideas that I had. I think the butterfly one would be a little more difficult for people. Somebody made the point of, you know, younger people and older people might struggle a little bit with origami. And I also think, you know, given the situation with COVID, we might want to avoid things that people are touching a lot also. So in my opinion, we should sort of get rid of the butterfly idea and focus on the other two. But again, if there are other ideas, I would love to hear those too.
Allie, thank you so much for working on this. I think the ideas are all great. One thing I think Amy and I talked about was we really haven't distributed our new logo and the stickers and the whatever it is, the window
Decal.
thing. So we wanted to, I think we wanted to really start that distribution at the NRT fair if we could. So if we could tie that into the whatever we do, that would be really great.
Oh yeah, I think that would be very easy to do. So Kathy, usually I'm not sure if you've ever been to them before, but usually what we do is we have like a booth where we have some sort of a project going on. And then we have material that we usually hand out. So I think it would be a great opportunity to showcase, anything and everything that we're doing right now as an HRC.
I love the idea of this middle one to encourage people to take pictures. People are more social or media oriented than I am, but I can see people really gravitating toward the opportunity to take pictures here. Allie, I know we went over this a little on the email, but can you go over what it would look like to take pictures with this project as it is in progress? Like obviously the finished part looks great, but what about the people who come early?
Yeah, so in this picture, envision the black backdrop with the wings outlined in white paint or white chalk. So the wings would still be there, they just wouldn't be colorful yet. So it could still be, it would still be a photo op. It just would be in progress versus the full project. I think it could still work, honestly. Wouldn't be as wonderful of a photo opportunity when it's not complete, but it still, I think, would be pretty cool.
If people put the feathers in starting from the inside out and we did it evenly, it sort of looks like wings as you go out. So that would make it more colorful and more uniform as people actually did it.
True. Yep. And I think we probably, or whoever the volunteers are who are running it, would probably be the ones sticking them on, because I think what it's probably going to entail is a glue gun, because that's what dries fast, most quickly, as far as I know. If you guys have other ideas, let me know. But I think probably one of us would be standing up there gluing them on, so we could probably make the decision about where it's going.
And they might need time to dry or set depending on what we do.
Yep.
How adaptable is either this project or this one to rain?
So I would say this one here is more adaptable.
The woven fabric?
Yeah, because that could get wet. Honestly, it could get soaking wet. Perfectly fine. But I'm guessing we're probably going to have one of those 10-foot by 10-foot pop-up tents anyway. So with this one, we could just sort of move the tent to wherever we need it to be, move the wave, if you will, move the chicken wire to underneath the tent if we need to, and if we want that to be the place where people are putting it in, and then if it's not, it doesn't need to be one humongous piece of chicken wire. It could be 4 longish ones, and again, if it gets wet, it's fine. And the other one, if it rains, the feathers are going to be paper. So that won't work unless we're under cover. I don't think a 10-foot by 10-foot tent is going to be big enough for the whole project. I visualize it being bigger than that. So we would have to work with the NRT to figure out how to do it under, an overhang or a part of their barn that would stay dry.
Well, my other thought is, would we want something more like the chicken wire? Would we want to move it after? The feathers seem to be a one-time event, whereas this, last time we did something, we could move it around and folks were, we had it at different locations. It's a little bit more mobile.
Yeah, I think the wings, so the wings for the backdrop, I was thinking we could use like a heavy tarp or even, a couple of shower curtains sewn together, and then it would be glued on there. So actually, I think that would be movable too.
Okay.
But I haven't tried doing it, so I don't know. I don't know which one would sort of be more movable. In my opinion, I actually like the wings project better. I think it would have more, I think it would draw more people because of the photo opportunity and because of the social media draw. But I do think that this one would be easier to implement.
The other thing about this one is you could put the logo, the new, logo right in the center. It would be easy to do it on this. I don't know if we could do it on the wings.
How would you put it in the center?
Well, you would attach it so that it would block off some of the holes of the chicken wire.
Okay. See what you're saying. Yep.
Could we make the
Allison.
wings or could we make the feathers out of something other than paper? So they're more.
Could we paint white ones with non-water-based paint?
Just have a giant laminating machine.
Non-water-based paint scares me a little bit.
I know, with a bunch of kids, like what could go wrong?
I mean, we could do it out of just colorful, something that they could cut instead of color, but I don't know what that something would be.
Allison, what would we call either of these projects?
I can't remember what I suggested in the email, but something, I mean, so the feathers, something along, I mean, the wings would be something along the lines of, this,
We are diverse, together we take flight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then this one, something similar, something about how we are all diverse and we all contribute, but together we are beautiful or we are impactful or something.
Or the fabric of our community.
Oops, I can't hear you for some reason.
The wings are a little bit easier to understand, to match sort of the theme, I think.
Oh, no, I can't hear you. Sorry, Liz, I missed whatever you said.
I was just saying, like, if you look at the third one, you say like, you talk about the fabric of the community. I mean, literally, like, you're part of the fabric. But
Right.
Kathy had a point after me about the wings just sort of thematically being an easier fit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that kids will
And
understand.
so also sorry, Kathy, go ahead.
No, I just said, I don't know if kids will understand the fabric idea as well as the wings.
Yeah, I wonder also too if the fabric, how much a person will be able to individualize the fabric piece as opposed to the feather you can kind of make it your own, right? So it could be a little bit more unique. I do love the picture potential for the feather. And then kind of back to Beth's point about the traveling, because I think that really resonated, being able to take that Faces of Easton and bring it around to the various schools and the library and all sorts of places. If we think about it, if we were taking pictures, and we get many of them, of folks standing in this pose, potentially we could make some sort of collage as well someday that could be pretty, very, very, I think, powerful as well.
So one other thought I had was if we were going to go with the wings option and it was just a total washout that day and downpour, we could just have a table where folks are decorating their wings, cutting them out, and then we collect them. And then at a later date, we could assemble it together, put it somewhere, probably the sheep pasture or somewhere else, and advertise it as, oh, our project is final. Please go and have your picture taken, post it on Instagram, post it on Facebook, use this hashtag. So we don't necessarily need to assemble it that day if the weather is really awful.
I think that's a great idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. I also think we could, if we have our logo, if we blow up a little poster, we could put it above the wings. So, it's up there in that dark spot.
That's what I was thinking. I was actually thinking maybe we put something, yes, either in the top or in the bottom. I actually think that in the top would be the title of the artwork. And then in the bottom corners, on one corner, we could have the logo and something about Easton human rights. And then on the other, we could have the QR code so that people knew, what we were all about without having to take information and stuff.
We could show it at the Rockery, even though butterflies in December are kind of off season, but
Yeah.
that would be another public gathering, especially if, we can get some wall space up at Oak Thames.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
For the wings, I was thinking, how about using like a waterproof vinyl stickers that we could just, how they come up in like 8.5 by 11, then we could just cut it up in feathers. Different colors.
That's a good idea. You mean the participants would cut it out?
The participants can cut it up, or we can cut it up beforehand, and we could just have it in little different bins with different colors.
Is it easy to color?
No, it's already colored.
So they'd choose red. They would just choose a color and cut it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Could we layer on other stickers to put on top so people can personalize it somehow?
We could do that.
Yeah, I think coloring it is important. I mean, I think people like to do that when they get a chance to color things. Feels original to them.
So Irene, I think your point about a waterproof substance, especially one that will roll up well if we're transporting this around, could also work.
Yes.
Because I think you could still get the waterproof vinyl stickers in white if we want them colored. If we want them to color it.
So it sounds like we are getting close to deciding on a project, and now we're talking more about details about the project, both feasibility and costs.
Yep.
And logistics.
So I mean, I made lists of materials for both of those two options. This one is definitely going to be more expensive, slightly more expensive than the other one, because the other one's just chicken wire. I mean, the rest, all of
So
the
I'm thinking about doing
materials.
a grant for this.
Yeah, I'm looking up the deadline. It's usually October. So it's, the pay first and get reimbursed later.
I think we just need to decide on which one we want to do, and then I can do some digging on, the vinyl sticker option versus the other stuff, and then we can make those decisions in our September meeting, right? We have a September meeting.
Allie, it might be easier for us to create a subcommittee so that this way we wouldn't have to be dependent upon coming together to meet again, and instead we kind of designate the group to go ahead and make the final decisions around the last minute details. Yeah.
Yep, that's a good idea.
So it sounds like maybe between the butterfly, the wings, and the fabric option, do people want to go ahead and? It sounds like people are leaning towards the wings. Does that sound about right?
Yes.
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 Okay, excellent. So we have a
and
project.
Just to clarify, as a matter of procedure, it's not actually a subcommittee, but it might be a group of people who are doing some research and sharing their findings via email with the group.
Got it.
But
I'm happy to.
whom the committee is designating to go ahead and move that forward, right? So we don't necessarily need to meet again to make final decisions.
I don't think so. In terms of deciding, the issue is money, right? So this is a discussion with Craig in the past. Both the town and Stonehill have been generous enough to allocate some of the discretionary Stonehill money for this project. So it's always the issue of cost up front. But we don't know that exactly how much that is. So Craig, do you have a sense on whether that approach would be feasible this year?
I think you have to have something pretty concrete, like we did last year, to say, oh, this is what we're going to do. This is how much we anticipate it's going to cost. These are the materials we're going to produce or we're going to buy. so that
Okay.
the board has the opportunity to see the whole picture in making an
So
determination.
if we pulled that together by the September meeting, would that be enough time?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I'm happy to help Ally, and I'm also happy to spearhead the ECC grant.
Great. Thank you.
Ellie, there's one question I had about, there is a barn that has been used. I can't remember what they used it for a couple of years ago, but there's a barn, there's an inside section. I think they had food there. And I'm wondering if we were worried about weather,
Mm-hmm.
we could talk to them about, can we use a wall inside the barn
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
that it wouldn't make any difference if it was pouring rain. Now, I don't know what kind of a turnout you have when it's pouring rain, but I think that's always an issue. But I think we're going to keep our fingers crossed that the weather's going to be gorgeous and we won't have to worry about that. But
Yeah.
maybe you can ask them.
I
Is
will.
it
Yeah.
possible to use the
Yeah.
inside?
That was my plan. Yeah. Once we made a decision, I was going to go to them and just say, look, this is what we're planning. What do you suggest for a location? They also have that new sort of almost like a camping area that's kind of down below where the mansion used to be. That's all covered, and they have what do they have, picnic tables, I think, under there and stuff.
Oh,
So
yes,
that might
yes.
also be an
Pavilion.
option. Yeah. We might also need an extension cord, access to an extension cord too, if we're going to be using glue guns. So we'll
So
figure it
Ally,
out.
I'll tell you, Jen and Jean have just been very supportive of HRC in the past. So the sooner we can reach out to them and say, here's what we're thinking,
Yeah.
the easier it will be for them to situate us, because they're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the process now. So
Mm-hmm.
Ally,
Okay.
what's the date of the NRT?
October 3rd.
the
October
first
3rd.
Sunday.
October 3rd.
October 3rd. Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
the
we
other
have a
thing-
project. Go ahead, Liz.
No, I was just gonna, like, in my mind, of the other things we're sort of advertising or doing was the QR code on materials for the HRC as a way to access our
Mhm.
website.
Yep. So I would suggest that we stick it on the actual artwork. So people visiting it and seeing it after the fact would have it. But also on any material that we're handing out, definitely we would put it there, and probably just a couple of laminated pieces of paper on our table with the big QR code that people can't miss. So
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. I also know that, so as Kathy mentioned, being able to incorporate the sticker distribution, definitely. I have received an email or two through the HRC email box asking about the Hate Has No Home Here sign. So I know we were kind of keeping a list of folks that had interest in that. We may want to see again if folks are maybe through some sort of listing, if they wanted to sign up, if they are interested, and if we got enough interest to meet that threshold, we could go ahead and order again. So something else to consider there as well.
yeah, I
It
think we
sounds
have a
like
couple
Ally's thinking.
Yeah, we have a couple clipboards there, probably one for just Ally sign up, one for, just a couple for all of our various things that we want to collect names
In the
for.
meantime, when I send out to the allies already about our membership opening, should I also ask people if they're interested in that sign? See if we can.
Mhm.
Why not?
What's the minimum number of signs that we would have to order?
Either 100 or 500. I think 100 because they're
Huge
I thought
$5
it
a
was
piece.
one.
Yeah.
And then how do we pay for them?
Well, the same way we pay for everything, by front loading from a fund that, fingers
Okay.
crossed, we might have access to.
Yep.
Okay.
So,
So it sounds like Ally's taking lead, and anybody else have interest in helping to work with Ally on this besides Liz? Feel free to maybe reach out to Ally directly.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Just one other thing is the signs that the Raising Multicultural Kids, when they sent out their signs, they had people pay $5, and they still got over 100 people doing it. So we could consider that as well.
Yeah, the hate, just as a note, the hate has no home people require that it's not a fundraiser. So if we ask for money, it would have to be a cost.
Are they $5 a piece?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on NRT? All right. The next agenda topic is the Massachusetts Human Rights Coalition. So there really hasn't been much activity. There wasn't a meeting over the summer, or not in July. I think they're probably going to start back up again in the fall. I don't know if anybody in particular has any interest in attending these meetings. They're on typically a Friday, once a month at 9:30 in the morning is the time slot. I'm not sure if they're going to continue to keep that time slot, but it does make it pretty challenging for me to meet. So I don't know if anybody has any interest in attending and might have that availability. But if you do, let me know, and I'll send you the details. Okay. Any questions on that before we move on?
Okay, was that on one Friday a month? What was the date that they?
I don't have the date.
I mean, do they
Yeah,
have a regular
I'm not
scheduled
sure.
day?
Typically,
So.
yes. It's like, sorry, Liz?
I feel like it's so from what I've seen. Like they aim for once a month, but my recollection is not like it's the third Friday or something like that.
Okay.
But we can check and confirm.
Okay.
What, do we get value out of it?
I think so. I mean, it was really good to hear from the other HRCs the different types of initiatives they have going on. They found our listening sessions very valuable, so much so that we ended up having a separate conversation with one of the towns about how it was organized. Amy shared kind of the whole process of getting presenters, and actually they actually did end up hosting one after that. So, I mean, I do think it's great to hear some of the other topics that they're covering. I know they've tackled housing. They've also been kind of looking at different bills and kind of working with politicians in their town. Some of them are much more like city oriented. So they have a little bit more, I think, restrictions around meeting and then, kind of process. But I find them pretty interesting. And at least to kind of get plugged in too for the other types of topics that might be coming up or events that we might have interest in attending. Okay, next topic is RMK activities. Anybody have any updates there?
We just finished our the book discussion last Monday. Was pretty successful. Around more or less 20 to 30 people attended the 3-week sessions. The next book club meeting would be I think slated for September. So they're taking a couple of months for break. Then it'll start again in September.
Okay, great. Welcome, Michelle. Welcome, Kristen. Mentorship program. Allie, updates on that?
So I don't have too many updates. I've really just been thinking a little bit more about it. I think I was going to reach out to the Easton schools to see what sort of programs they already had running around mentorship. I didn't actually do that yet. I sort of pumped the brakes a little bit because I actually now think maybe we should test the waters with our ally group before we start sort of expanding it a little bit more. I mean, now that our ally group is quite large, Kathy, how many people do we have now? Oops, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry, not as many as we need, but over 100.
I think that's enough, honestly, to just sort of test the waters and see if there's interest. I don't want to, I guess my hesitation is just, I don't want to reach out about something that we don't know is really going to be successful yet. And I think without the buy-in of some of our allies, a significant number of our allies, it's not going to work anyway, because we need people to match people with. So I suggest that what we do is just send out some sort of a survey to the allies around, is there interest in a program like this? Do you know people who might be interested? Would you be willing to be matched up with somebody? Questions like that.
And
Okay.
I know that we reached out, or I reached out to that person at Stonehill. They're finally, I think, coming on board too. So I can send a follow-up now that the transition is a little bit more firm.
Okay.
They're on my to-do list.
So
Do
I'm
you
happy.
have
send out
ideas
survey.
on timing for that, Ally? For launching it? Because I'm
No.
wondering if we launch that in early 2022, kind of depends on everyone's bandwidth. But if we're spending the next 2 months getting ready for NRT, we're doing a listening session in November. If the Rockery thing is happening and we're doing something in December, that's kind of the end of 2021.
Yeah. I mean, I know for myself, I'm not going to have any capacity this fall to do much of anything beyond the NRT stuff.
Yeah.
But it would be late fall, early winter. So that's sort of the timing I guess I probably had in mind anyway.
So maybe if we sent out a survey to the allies in October, November, see what the interest is, and then go from there.
Yeah. So I'll get it started between now and then. I'll start pulling together some survey questions and I'll send it to all of you for your input. I just don't want to start reaching out to other organizations because it sort of is a little bit of messaging that we're going to definitely go ahead with it. And I don't think this team has the capacity to do it alone. I think we need our allies to be on board.
Yeah, I also wonder too, Ellie, if it's worthwhile to have a conversation or bring it up at the Massachusetts kind of coalition for human rights and see if they've, implemented a program similar. Have they explored programs like that in the past? If there are any kind of best practices or things that maybe we can do a little bit more research before we even survey.
I think that's
a good idea. Might make sense.
Yep.
Yeah, and then kind of back to Liz's point, we do have a lot of activities kind of planned in the next couple of months. So, maybe a revisit in 2022 might make more sense. So that'll give us a chance to connect with the other HRCs, give us a chance to kind of scan the environment a little bit more, give Beth an opportunity to connect with her Stonehill contact, and then we can circle back on this one in early.
And it also will give us a little bit more time to boost the ally list, right? I imagine coming out of the NRT fair, we'll have a bunch of names to add also.
That's true. Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Other action items. One thing I wanted to mention here was Deputy Chief Keith Boone. He was appointed as our civil rights officer back in April. He's going to be the liaison between the police department and the HRC. Liz and I had the opportunity to meet with Deputy Chief back in, I guess, a couple of weeks ago now, or maybe it was just last week. I'm kind of losing track, for introductions. It was really great to hear from him directly, kind of his Easton roots background, his commitment to the town. And I really do fully anticipate a really strong partnership going forward. He's kind of committed to giving us any updates on right before our meetings on any topics that might be pertinent to us. And he does plan to attend meetings from time to time as his schedule will allow. I don't know, Liz, was there anything else you wanted to add on that?
No, I would just echo that he wears many hats, and to be an HRC ally with his many hats, I think will help raise awareness of the HRC's existence and mission in town. So he is a vocal person and a proponent. and deep roots in Easton. So one of those like sort of knows everyone, his parents know everyone type of person. So that's a good window into the community as well as his role as a police officer. So like Karen said, I do anticipate him being an active partner going forward.
He's also a terrific guy too. So that's an addition.
Awesome. So I wanted to make sure we shared that. And then I know we talked about the topic of membership. That was the other action item or other topics that we wanted to make sure we covered today. So we do have our chair position as well as our vice chair position that needs to be filled, or kind of the terms are up. And so I'm not really sure of the typical process, but I guess we'll start with the vice chair, or do we start with the chair?
I would start with the chair.
Thoughts? Okay. So
Okay.
anybody have any recommendations on chairing our committee?
Kathy, you're muted.
I know, sorry. I'm having trouble with that tonight. Karen, are you interested in any of these positions? I mean, Liz already said she wasn't.
Yeah, I would be interested in continuing as chair. I would also be open to other folks if they have interest as well. You know, I don't want to hold people back if they have interest in kind of taking a leadership role. But I feel like there's still a lot more to do on this committee, and I feel like we've finally hit like a really, I think, strong cadence, and I don't want to lose momentum.
So I nominate Karen to serve as chair, especially given her role as vice chair the last several years and co-chair this last year. And I also echo her sentiment that should anyone else be interested, like, please step up. In the absence of anyone having the bandwidth or interest to take on this role, I think Karen would be a good fit.
I would be happy to second that nomination, Liz.
Yep, agreed.
Yes, absolutely.
Are there any other nominations for chair, self or otherwise? All right, then I think at this point we can go ahead on vote for the nomination of Karen Chan to be chair for this upcoming year. So Craig, I think you have to start.
Yeah, we do it by, it's a voice, so it's Barger Chan.
Dean Chan.
Devonshire Chan.
Okay, so we'll,
I don't know if Liz Foster Chan.
Hey, Chan.
Urchioli Chan.
and Bornstein, what do I vote? Bornstein Chan?
Yeah.
You remember?
Oops. Did Michelle
right.
vote?
Michelle's muted.
Yep, Durant's Chan.
All right,
Well, thank you,
It's
everyone.
unanimous, Karen.
it's unanimous. Congratulations.
Thank you. All right, let's vote on our vice chair position. Anyone have any recommendations or nominees they'd like to bring forward?
So I'd like to nominate Allison because she served in this role this last year as co-vice chair. And I think she has the experience and the interest to continue. And I think she and Karen might make a good team.
Sounds great.
Seconding it, Catherine?
Second.
And do we vote?
Allison, do you accept the nomination?
Sure.
Are there any other nominations? Okay. All right. So it looks like the vote now will start again with Craig for Allison as vice chair.
Roger, I'm sorry, I always mess up your last name, Allison.
Urchioli, it's okay.
Urchioli.
Devonshire Urchioli.
Dean Urchioli.
Durant Urchioli.
Oster Urchioli.
Hey, Urchioli.
Bornstein or Chioli. Sorry, I was frozen.
Chan Urchioli. Michelle, I think you might be last.
I voted. Durant Urchioli.
Thank you. All right. Thank
Congratulations, Ally.
Thank you.
I'll email Amy with the updates and have her update the website.
Just a quick question once if we're done with voting. Are we set with that? Are we good? There's no other anything, right?
Yeah.
Correct. So my thoughts, especially as we head into the school year, I do have just some anticipation or maybe wanting to be proactive and educate about if the topic or have some talking points, if the topic of critical race theory comes up. And what it is and isn't, and how perhaps maybe, I don't know, if, Michelle, if you folks have talked about that. I know that some of the battles that are being fought on this issue are being done at the local school committee levels. So there was a great podcast, the New York Times, The Daily did one. I think it might be in our kind of bailiwick to be knowledgeable about it, be able to have some quick talking points about what it is and isn't, and also perhaps being in communication with the school department and the school committee, so we can be pretty much all on the same page when it comes to that. I mean, my understanding of CRT is it is not being taught in K through 12. That is a grad school topic and separate from a true understanding of what our history actually is. So just kind of putting it out there that it might be something that we can look to over the course of the next few weeks or months.
So I believe that Dr. Cabral was going to talk to that on the next school committee meeting. So I can make sure that it's on the agenda. I certainly don't want to preempt any of her thoughts or speak for her or anyone else yet. But if you'd like, I can make sure that it's on our next agenda to talk about.
Yeah, and I think that there's some opportunity to possibly assist in that. With who knows what's happening with COVID, but if there is a shift, I know that she had mentioned that she wants to kind of bring back together the superintendent's advisory committee. To me, this is something that would be the perfect topic to discuss there as well. But I do think that folks who are on this committee, it would be in all of our best interest, our town's best interest, to have an understanding of what CRT is and isn't, and help educate folks in the town with that as well.
So I'll be in touch with you, Beth. Maybe we can make it a conversation that some of you guys can come to and be part of. But I just want to talk to Dr. Cabral about how that should look on the school committee.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you, Beth, for bringing that forward.
And maybe we want to put it on the agenda for next month and we can have a follow-up discussion.
Yep, that sounds right. Any other topics from the committee?
So,
Liz?
yeah, so we'll need to set our meeting schedule for the upcoming year. Currently, we are first Tuesday of the month at 6:30. So Karen, you and Ally may want to decide how to handle scheduling.
Ally, what do you think? Should we try to keep it as is? And unless folks have some pretty challenging schedules that would make us want to change that, maybe we just kind of stick to this for
I'm
now.
comfortable. Yeah, I'm comfortable with that. I think, I mean, it seems to be a decent day and time for everybody. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Anybody have any known conflicts?
Tuesdays are good for me.
This has been working for me.
Okay, and we can definitely revisit the time if folks end up having to go back in office and commuting and things like that, because I think we used to meet at 7 p.m. But for right now, let's keep it at 6:30 on that first Tuesday of the month, and then if we need to revisit, we definitely can.
And then Michelle or Craig, you can maybe clarify, I might have missed this from the town. Are we authorized to continue on Zoom through the remainder of 2021?
Yeah,
So-
the legislature passed an extension of the Zoom or virtual meetings. I don't remember the exact dates, but I think it goes through April or May of next year.
I think it's to the end of, I thought it was the last day of March, beginning of April, as of right now.
Okay,
Close enough.
so that's a fair amount of time.
Yep. And who the hell knows what, pardon my expression, who the heck knows what's going to happen with this Delta variant?
All right, I like Zoom, and I think we've had a lot more kind of consistency and participation with our remote. It's just been easier to work through our schedules.
Mhm.
Okay, anything else from the group?
Just seeing that that would be the 7th of September. Is that correct? That's Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah,
So I don't know if is that the first day of Rosh Hashanah or the second day of Rosh Hashanah?
that's the first day.
So maybe since this month has 5 Tuesdays, do August 31st.
It's my birthday. I will probably not be joining you.
I don't mind the
Well, how
idea
about-
of August 31st, just in terms of more planning time for NRT. We can host the meeting at Beth's house and I'll Zoom from there.
We could all sing her happy birthday, I suppose, too.
There you go.
Would be like-
Officially middle-aged at 45, so bring it on.
Do we want to aim for the 31st?
The one benefit to that would be we could sneak in a meeting the last Tuesday of September, which is the week before NRT, for last minute discussion and planning.
I like
Yeah,
that
I
idea.
think that's a great idea.
Make sure you reach out to the town quickly to grab that date, because I don't know what other people meet on those Tuesdays.
Okay, will do. All right, so our next meeting will be August 31st at 6:30 p.m.
And tentatively, that's September 1, 2, or we'll decide it in August.
Well, to Craig's point, you might want to grab the date. You can always cancel it.
Yeah.
That way you have the Zoom.
Okay, I'll request those.
All right, that's September 28th.
September 28th, 6:30
Yep.
p.m. Okay.
Maybe we'll
Okay,
move the
I
meetings
think-
to the last Tuesdays of the month.
I know, at this rate. Let's see how we like it in August and September. We can go from there. How about that?
Makes sense to me.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, do we need to vote to adjourn?
Yep.
No. Do we? Yeah, oh, we do.
Yeah.
Okay.
So moved.
So we have a motion and a second.
Second,
Audrey, yes?
Bornstein, yes.
And
Yes.
Durance, yes?
Devonshire, yes.
Foster, yes.
Hey, yes.
Or Julie, yes.
All right, meeting adjourned 7:27. Thank you, everyone. Great,
Have a good
great
night, guys.
discussion. Nice to see everybody.
Good
We were
luck,
getting really
team.
good
Thank
at that
you.
alphabet too.
I was
Yeah, we
thinking,
got it nailed.
The
yeah.
last vote.
That's
Bye.
right. Take
Bye,
care, everyone.